Right, 30th of the 7th, 2019, United Kingdom. Subject is victimisation, direct discrimination. The untruths since 2010, mainly 2019 to date. It's about 9 years. Found some evidence of records, and it's amazing when you keep records of that care plan dated Olympics Care Service Limited offer, and this is how they got involved. They have monopoly in East United Kingdom, be aware. The statute law in United Kingdom offer goods and services is absolutely, I know who's behind all this and what it's all about personally towards me. I state the facts on this channel because I know it's being recorded and being played back and being analysed by powers that be. Presumption that, don't forget, I'd studied contract law, statute law, commerce, business, basic things to assist myself. Evidence is fact, first-hand knowledge of the truth. Who made the decision to offer a place of non-consensual to myself? They have the same civil servants employees since their offer a 2012 displacement out of my private dwelling and then on to myself 2013. By the way, I have paperwork evidence of all this, and the fact that it's assumption made by Charlotte, a former female. I found out she still works in the company. This is how the Big Brother spies goes on, gets worse. Presumption was made in 2012 about me, and this presumption is victimisation, direct discrimination for all those in my situation. Be aware how they can get away with this. If I hadn't just found all of my document evidence of fact, I wouldn't be making this dream as evidence now. Truths are grant, public knowledge. Northamptonshire County Council is a limited company. I'm stating where the location. Go and search the information of the past 2018, how they are bankrupt. I know information on fact, on record, how they become bankrupt and who's behind it, but I'm not going to make that public. I'm not going to put myself out there on that line. I have been directly targeted because of what I know. I have a different channel. I go into all what's been going on for me for so many years, and I've gone through the housing records. Right. The reason why they've been trying to get me displaced at my home since I moved in, by the way, and of the offer of 2009 is 2019. How many years is that? Secure tender and statute law? Right. Certain females in this area, they all work online now with the internet, the way of things, and also certain individuals are now promoted themselves. They deliberately have blocked for 2 years. Deliberately, and I'll go into why. They call it a wet room. It's not a wet room. I didn't know what a wet room was when I got one over in 2009, ended up in the wheelchair 2010. I could not cope with the change of physical reduction on health to being able-bodied in 2009-10. So, of course, the psychological mindset myself was not very well at all. I have gone through all of the records, period, past to date, especially today, showing who has made up, and I will quote, who has done this in my neighbourhood. I can't make this up because I've got it in black and white, and I will produce its document evidence if I need to. I'm not going to breach anyone's data protection specifically. I'm not here for that. I'm just here to let you know that I know information now much clearer. I didn't know certain things years ago, and now with so many people in my situation who are only trying to move forward, but they have this hanging around on records, on documents, presumption being made. where it's not just about cutbacks in public sector services in England. It's the cutbacks, how they're now working in my area. The terms and conditions have changed, and that means what I originally was offered on the 3rd of October 2017 verbally when I ended up in hospital. And go back on the channel, you'll see something about that. And you'll see how a simple rip in a flooring covering turns into now a major just repair. I am bothered how one's choices and outcomes, so all these buzzwords they use, is meant to be offered now on. Since I moved here, all of my personal life has been on scrutiny, unlawfully, and direct interference in my right to private life. Former neighbours have let us play out about, say, I don't know, under a year ago, with 2 different people. They're taken in turns. One sleeps there in the day, one sleeps there at night. Strangers to me. Talk about not feeling safe in the area. Anyway. Then number 9, the previous one moves out, another one moves in. That female and her violent boyfriend moved out. I've got a history of all that and how they target my son. At the time in 2013, my son only went up to knock on the door to say, leave her alone. No threats, nothing. Just being polite. Instead by the police and housing individuals. Next thing you know, he's moving out of the town and moving down towards my daughter. I no longer have a relationship with him because of all that. Thanks for, nuts with certain public servants making up shite about me. And I found out what he said about me to him. Anyway, moving on. Presumptions is just that. Unless you can back it up with facts or first-hand knowledge. Okay, record, 2012. Okay, Kathleen Henshaw, no disrespect to the lady. It's those that work under her in a different department. That is the one called lady called Sue. Since March 2017 to date, she has been nothing but characterisation, assassination on my private life, right to private life. I have this evidence of that. In 2017, I did 9 documentations for the rebuttal of assumptions being made about private dwelling, private life then, to date. Now, in statute law, the assumption being made, there's a one adult, all still in a When I first was offered this offer to rent of a contract this place, it was on Proviso years ago. It was advertised as built for people with disability and mobility needs. Then it gets downgraded to general needs. Well, it's not my problem, is it? The terminology, the breach of contract, initially the terms had changed. But I didn't know about contract law then, and I was too ill. So my first effective strike on the consequences of being run over was 2010. Then, unfortunately, again, 2011. Not great. But you see, I did not know what I know now. And in hindsight, would I have changed things? Maybe, but I can't change what's happened. I'm raising this as a background history to the facts in hand I'm about to come up to. The assumption being made that I do not have a hoist in my home. And they're messing about my connections, so bear with me. I know, it's right. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to chill out 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, it's alright, don't mention who you are. Right, 2 witnesses with me right now. The reason why my private friends took over my private life offer of personal care in the way they've been doing it since 2014, because I got harmed in my home. I've got dates, diaries, family diaries, 2013, 2014. There was a reason why I didn't want anything to do with the company known as a limited care services limited company. Now they changed their in business, in contract law, company house, company check. Their location is Northamptonshire County Council, dunandbradstreet.co.uk. You can go and type in any offer by a representative as agent for these corporations. So you can find out the company information and where they're located. Excuse me, I'm really poorly today. In hindsight, I wish what I require is not taken into account today. Go back on this channel, you see what happened on the 23rd November 2019, or correction, 18. For all you naysayers that want to thumbs down this video, I don't care. I really don't care anymore. The fact is that I know what's true, and that's more important than anything. Right, so the new models, and please don't get me wrong, I'm sure these individuals that are recruiting new people to be part of their enterprise, their business, I'm sure they mean well. But unfortunately for me, the same people that cause me harm, who are responsible in their job positions, it all got covered up. There wasn't any justice. No, of course there isn't. Instead, when you do raise the alarm and concerns what happened to you by public funded civil servants, especially when they're meant to care for your own private dwelling, you could say could re-traumatise you. Just bear with me. I'm being censored on YouTube, so bear with me. Oh dear. I know. I'm tired. It's the weather keeps changing. So I have diary evidence, as I said. Certain individuals move away from here, certain new people move in, but now the national scheme of things, in national policy, both really in statute or for anyone in my position, especially have knowledge, is to be targeted and to just keep quiet and to just push them away into very expensive contracted national chain of care homes. But it's not like a care home you might think it as. They're rebranded a different title, placements. There's a reason why I never consented again to Olympus Care Service Limited Company or any of their services. And that's why in 2018 it's called CHC and it's known by NHS England, a national framework policy. Former social worker, civil servants should have identified, and it's in statute law, the framework policy 2014 in conjunction with statute law Care Act 2014 to offer joint assessment. It's called a checklist. So it needs to be by a skilled civil servant. Order is that that's never happened. And I've been pushing this all year. Well, I think it's almost, it's gone a year now. So therefore, it's not about offering anything at all. What they're going on with me, they're using every bit of evidence, anything they can dig up, and try and apply this. The comments were said by so-called unknown source deliberately to discredit me. On the 17th, we've got evidence of this. 17th of April 2019, I do not need a hoist. I do not need my sling. I do not need my powered wheelchair. Former company 2010 called Provider Services Limited. They were a different location in Dustin, Northamptonshire, UK then. And the previous occupation therapy department, and by the way, I found those reports again too to date. You claim you didn't have any of those civil servants. Listen to this, may listen to this, I should say. I found the evidence and you claim you don't have this on your records. Really? Okay, let me state this fact. June 2012 just found a care plan, signed and dated by a formal social worker. Really? Those needs is what is my private friend has been carrying on with. Their specific arrangements and tasks and use of the medical equipment is exactly the same. Nothing's changed all these years. So unless you can produce the evidence of a policy, document evidence by Northamptonshire County Council Limited, its civil servants, head of policy department and head of LGSS law department. Well, LGSS law is their lawyers, public lawyers. Head office in Cambridgeshire, representatives work in the building across from me as well, and sometimes at home, online. Procurement contracts, that's what it's about. Well, the two recent documents sent off was notice of demand and notice of fault. Failure to produce the key points made in those documents and contract law does not have a meeting of the minds, does not have my consent. You have no authority over me. You work for the public. You are civil servant level, not ordinary everyday people. As I said, it's mainly at the duty of care lays with the CEO and the board of directors. Yeah, not ordinary men and women that work these places. So unfortunately, all one has sought clarification. Where's the evidence? Where's your policy evidence all this past year? To state that one needs this, that, and the other clearly states the policy document changes in the remit of 9th of July 2019 for the year 2019-2021 means there's the terms and conditions have changed now since we originally offered that to I, and therefore there isn't a full disclosure of goods and services, and order is that I'm turning down your offer at the moment. And obviously, who made that decision well, I know who made that decision, but until you provide the evidence of first-hand knowledge and put it in email, sometimes emails don't get back to me, so I can't help with the internet way of things. That would be extremely helpful, because based on whose consent did you offer a certain place? I won't mention where, because you have people living there in across towns about 3-4 miles away. And this coming week on the 1st of the 8th, 2019 at 1 p.m. That's a Thursday. If you had checked your records, the civil servants out there, they call it prevention. Prevention, well, preventing you accessing long-term services. That's what the new policy is about. Anyway. The fact is that I got these paperwork evidence of what my needs are, and they're high care needs, by the way. So when I get very poorly and I'm like today, I've been in bed having to rest. I've never once said I need hoisting 4 times a day, and if I'm in bed, I need hoisted more than like twice the average, morning and evening. But if I need to rest in bed, then depending on the times my private friends have, they don't need to hoist me in the day, because I'm at the stage where I am, and the task when you get really unwell, you just have to rest, and the arrangements are slightly different on those days, but it's generally the same. So I've never said to any civil servant that I need hoisted 4 times a day. Where did that come from, Jane? Who works in the rebellion team and a certain job title and Limited Care Service Limited. She's been saying disrespectful things about my private life and me since March correction, towards the latter part of 2017. Probably be butted, by the way. If that's never come back to me, and another probably bottle's gone off. I only made that call yesterday under duress by force and cohesion to a certain company that you fund. The contracts, I didn't even know how it all worked then. The contract. Cameron, can you close that door, please? Thank you. So, yeah, that's fine. No, just some liquid because my sore throat. Okay, so just made some notes, bear with us. A cease and desist of the libel and slander on presumption comments about myself has already been gone and delivered. Dated, delivered by the 23rd July 2019, no response. One was stated, you got planned at your soup, I know what's the planning. Unlawfully. And that was last Friday, 27th July 2019. As your agents, public funded agents of your corporations that you work for. I am the beneficiary and grantor. I instruct you what to do. You don't tell me. You can advise, you can support, but it needs to be a full disclosure. It needs to be a meeting of the minds. When you wake up and learn the truth about certain subjects, you're on a beacon, and you're unfortunately, anything can be used against you to make up to just make assumptions. And when you wake up and you're just doing your little bit to get by, be careful. Just play down what you know and just hold these people accountable. Because would you let strangers in your home that you don't know? And if you have certain conditions, you can't cope with strangers face to face, or have difficulty explaining what your care, housing needs, etc. might be to strangers you don't know. Are these civil servants trained and experienced to work with those individuals, similar situations? And then if you're offered a place that you don't know, and that's going to re-traumatise you again as well. And especially when you find out on the 17th of the 4th, 2019, by a document claiming with such assumptions they don't need as much equipment by non-trained medical individual in the physical disabilities. And has she failed to realise I wouldn't even find these documents? So as I said, that phone call was made and addressed yesterday to that certain limited. The full rebut was made by certain things happened to me by certain individuals in 2018 unlawfully, when the death of my mum happened. Thanks very much for the sympathy and support. Not. And the fact that there's evidence of these housing documentation records. The only reason why this housing company individual in my area was trying to access my private life and medical notes in 2017 and trying to make assumption, the only reason these civil servants and Olympus Care Service Limited individuals who only offered me an OT assessment was only, and I repeat, only, for Home Group Limited Company, head office in Newcastle, in my area, certain same civil servants and agents for this private housing limited company in my area since 2010, 2011, 2012, 13. There is evidence on record in black and white what my equipment is in my private dwelling, what it's for, and evidence of a former OT employee, and now it's terminology, and it says England. For years it's been set up as CCG commissioning groups throughout England. So wherever you live, town or city, it could be called your town location, and their commissioner contracts. So with my situation, the evidence, emails and service reports and of equipment, all this is stored on a database as well. And because of the terms and conditions of these contracts outsourced to private companies. So because the funding stream and contract works, so therefore, don't you think I haven't done my homework? It's all about to make up assumption about my personal life. Again, target me again, to re-traumatize one again, to make up assumptions because what, I've got private life friends that's trying to help, and I, silly me, thought, oh, the local public servants in NHS hospital might be offered choice and control. What a joke that was and is. I repeat, you have the start team, north or south. You have the short-term betterment team, north or south. You have all these different teams, and I'm sure all these individuals really do mean well. But at the helm of it all, the CEO and management level, all certain individuals that I held accountable, 2014 especially, I've had the letter. Your civil servants are too Mandy. She's got bored by now. She'd done her job, didn't she? And to, I won't say last information, but she meant to be a critical care manager at the time, 2012 in June. Reason why they got to displace from my profit joining them was care company went bust. I didn't know nothing what about my rights were then like I do now. So I also found this out, why civil servants do not inform disabled people that if you're in a hospital longer than 4 weeks, if you're in a care home longer than 4 weeks, if you're receiving the offer or disability limit allowance or personal dependence allowance, that will stop a certain element of it. But you see, Northamptonshire County Council Limited Company, its policies, certain civil servants do not inform you. Well, if they do, you're very lucky, but me, they don't. That you might consent to be someone on a temporary basis. You might be said, oh, it's only for a week or 2 days. Before you know it, you're in that placement, and there's cutbacks on the social worker move a job, and nobody's got your case file. And next thing you know, you're in there longer than 4 weeks, and then the maximum time is up to 8 weeks. If you don't seriously realise this underhandedness going on for vulnerable disabled people in the United Kingdom in 2019, as I'd experienced prior to all this and now still to date, I'm more clued up what goes on. I found the evidence today, that's why the stream is being made to warn people out there now. It is deceit by the back door, it's putting lives at risk unlawfully. And the buck stops with the CEO. Each company you may be offered goods and services by, and that means by, depending on where you live, of course, but the general statute policy is by, especially if you're informed. The deliberate not repairing my home is because they want me to move out my private dwelling of a secure tenure statute law. Housing Act 1988, that means I do have rights as anybody else. There isn't anywhere else to move to. All the statute law, the housing, the Homeless Reduction Act 2017 means statute law. In my area, there isn't any new build of one-bedroom bungalows in alignment with the offer housing benefit to cover one bedroom if you're a single adult, even though you have disability needs, with equipment. That is the policy. It hasn't changed. What has changed are limitations and what one offer, and that's it. After the offer of assessment, say you have or one safety, or we now can't do these major works because it's too costly. Well, they won't say it's too costly, they just make up some excuse. And so they can let it out to somebody that's working. Discrimination, yes. If they can't do a kick plates, rubber kick plates on previous OT reports, 2010, 2011, 2013, I don't think they're going to do a wet room repair, do you? And the floor? No. Certain home group, housing company, individuals in my area, they're very good nationally, what they're trying to do for others. But in my situation, my area, no. Unless your face fits, people, you might get things done. Direct singleisation, they're singling me out. I'm the only one affected in my area. Everybody around here gets their repairs, what they need. I'm the only one left without the use of a wet room bathroom. For 2 years, direct discrimination. I took this to nationally, it's known in England. Isle of Dogs, head office, Housing Ombudsman Services Limited. Of course, I soon found out there's no impartiality because every housing company classed, whether it's a charity or social housing, a statute or pays a fee to them to protect them away from such things, situations of negligence and maladministration or duty of care. Another's a breach of contract in my situation. So I didn't get anywhere, but out of it, it doesn't take 2 years just to get a lawful maintenance, excuse me, report. I didn't get one still. It was just a letter. Letter what? It didn't state how they're going to put my private belongings in storage, how the cost of that's going to be met, how my out-of-pocket expenses are going to be met, provide the full disclosure who is going to enter my private dwelling, and arrangements for my private dwelling. And I still need to pay for the cost of things here if they were going to be genuinely interested in doing the lawful duty of care to repair what allegedly is required. So from the pre-day repair in 2017, it's now this. So there's no moving forward on this because it's a stalemate situation, stalemate. They've only gone and used the presumption that, I can make decisions very well when it's required and lawful. When my help is not 100%, I'll get my private friends and they assist me in the best way they can. Does not mean to say one situation does not have capacity. And this is the angle they're going on. Section 42, I might have said this before. The Statute Law 2014 Care Act, if one lacks mental capacity in opinions of men and women, civil servants, as agents. This is where they can bring in this other element. Adult safeguarding. That's what it's always been about. So, who's harming who? I are not to I. My private life friends are not to myself or anyone else. It is the system cheaper to label people in that category, especially with high personal care needs that needs certain amount of visits per day, per week, and very high personal care needs. Because the cuts to public services are serious. I'm just showing my evidence of that. So for those you think you might just receive public sector services, no. You're not going to be informed unless you're in a postcode lottery and you're lucky to get the right people to inform you on this. Right. If one is moved out of private dwelling, as I said before, and it's more than 4 weeks, you're pushed on then to presumption to claim your universal credit. So that means disabled, I talk about disabled people because it's relevant to the subject today. It might not be relevant for those who may not. You might have friends or family members that might need to know. So you can, what I'm mentioning, you might want to take notes and do some research. Okay. I have document evidence of these facts of first-hand knowledge. It is not rebutted. The notice of default will go out soon, and I am not in dishonour by rejecting offer at the moment. I'd offered in 2018 also a choice of my location, and that is accessible hotel for disabled people with my needs, and that's required a funding offer by this National Housing Company, especially in my area. I found out during 31st of the 8th, 2018, the fraudulent misrepresentation, assumption. Oh, it might be helpful if I'm referred to a single point of access, they call it that title now. OT department within Olympics Care Service Limited. Within the same people. Gosh, I'm going around in circles with it all, I tell you. And I hope I'm not confusing you by now. Unbelievable that I was misled about that all along. And I found this recent evidence out. The only reason for that referral was a certain female called D, just say letter D. She'd pushed and used civil servants in my area to push this along. Also, once they get an OT assessment opinion, by the way, on my situation, my private dwelling. Oh, but no, they're not offering them a private dwelling now. They want to go to their place of business. Well, no, I've not presented to it because nobody's produced the evidence. Who made a decision? Who's had this special permission? From who? Well, between your work colleagues maybe, but I don't need your special permission. You're the agent. You're the civil servant, for goodness me. And then it's an ambush job, wasn't it, to offer on the 14th of May 2019. Oh, anniversary, my mum's birthday. That was good timing, wasn't it? To set up a offer meeting, and this has never happened in the past year, by the way. And because my friends smelt a rotten fish happening, so to speak, in a public building with two females I do not know, civil servants, claim to be a job title, healthcare professionals, social workers, don't know, and then an unknown advocate individual, don't know, but the other one I do know. Normally it would be one social worker, public servant, and an advocate individual, Voiceability Limited. Bang. To complete the constant 7 odd months left without the lawful completion offer of Statute Law Care Act 2014. It's known as Statute Law Personal Centred Care Planning, or the assessment process anyway to start with. But no, not for me. Didn't happen. It was a stop-start. It's like a car going wrong. Stop-start constantly. During this time last year, people on holidays, I was waited for weeks and weeks and weeks, so people went off on their holidays enjoying themselves, and I'm left in hell. Didn't care. Like many others, similar position to I were left in. Then it's all over the news again that the company on the 1st of the 8th, 2018, against a limited financially bust Northamptonshire Adult Social Services Limited Company, it's bolted, dissolved. Well, actually, officially, tomorrow's date, 31st of July 2018, the company folded. It's all public knowledge. You can go and do the research. So who now, all this time on, since then, has been offering me a contract to goods and services, and to date I've never received a response. So do you expect me, after all these years of negligence, and despite reporting things to the relevant in statute law, not one individual has been held accountable? Do you think I'm now going to allow the blank non-full disclosure of terms, conditions now on? No. Do you think I'm going to consider a lawful goods and services when it is my choice and control? Maybe. I am not silly. I know like to move forward. But this is being prevented. And there's a deliberate plan behind it. I raise these facts of evidence on this stream today because when they call it intervention and rehabilitation, okay, if I had those individuals who have medical experience and gone to college or university as medical experience in one's conditions, then I might have more faith and trust and build a relationship with people moving forward. But there's a big but coming along. As there has still not been provided the evidence of this, it's a bit like if you're being offered a contract, a healthcare professional by a private limited company, you would want to know their qualifications, surely, if they have skills and knowledge, and look what they're doing for so many people throughout England, Scotland, and Wales, of disabled people. We're going back in history, not forward. And I'm just one. There's quite a few other families and people in my situation out there. So I'm fully aware of my situation. I'm fully aware of my rights, and I'm fully aware of what I have done and what I've been lawful. And this evidence today, again, there is document evidence on a previous care plan that Northamptonshire County Council, the former Department Young Self Adults team, based when they closed down all offices in the county, merged to where they are now. Well, what happened to the paperwork then, civil servants out there? Data protection, statute law, Data Protection Act 2018, 2017, blocked 3 times to my own data, paid £30 for. What's behind that? You made up comments about me again, did you, eh? And you don't want me to access my notes. Unlawfully blocking that. Anyone out there trying to access your data, by the way, the data commissioner, the body, the company in Cheshire, well, apparently have a backlog. I wonder why. Because you have every right to access your data to know what's being said about you on any people, any company's database. And especially when it's important matters, what I'm just saying about. So I've done an SAR requirement and subject access and data protection with medical practice. Well, that's funded by the public purse too. Well, put it this way, link up the dots. Since June 2018 to date, over a year, delay to access my medical records on a CD format. And so that's a breach of 30 days of data protection in statute law, but also it's a breach of contract. Because don't forget, if you're signing up for goods and services and medical company, well, as I said, just go and do the research. dunabradstreet.co.uk. So the only option for these civil servants is to use the subject of, well, to victimise me all over. And literally, I could not even believe them making up these words they used. They couldn't even put their own first information, oh, it's like Diana or Jane or whatever, on this particular document email. And this head office, adult, they call it local adult health social care ombudsman. Go into the research, you'll find it's limited company. Right. The CEO was written to. The factual full rebuttal was already done. Attachment by email was a blank piece of document, but wasn't even lawful. And the assumption, I could tell who did the comments at the latter part of the sentence, claiming what I just said, that the council doesn't believe I even got a hoist in my home. Council is a bricks and mortar building. It's an individual agent representing that corporation making that statement. And I know who it is, and I won't say publicly because she's still working the job. But we're dealing with people here that for years have just been out to destroy me and my character and my personal life, going on such assumptions. Well, when you have to make sure the offer of goods and services, especially medical equipment, is serviced and safe and it is in your own home, there isn't any evidence to claim that I need an EOT assessment. If your physical needs are not changed, and anyone out there works in the business, well, leave me a comment if that's wrong. If you got evidence and document to prove it, that is wrong in the framework nationally, then do, because I've researched, I can't find no documentation, no statute law, nothing to state that anyone in my position needs an EOT assessment, especially when the medical use of these offer and medical equipment is not changed. If your physical disabilities are changed, isn't that through your medical petitioner, general medical petitioner, NHS medical side? If you have more difficulties in your daily life, then isn't it through avenues first to go down the medical side to find out what is causing that first, maybe? All due respect, if you end up back in a hospital setting, then you are going to experience this. The assumption you may find. For your own health and safety, it's been decided that you are not safe for discharge. And be aware how the bed blocking happens. It's by funding stream. Each bed is worth a certain percentage each week. It's not because of your own personal situation per se. It goes by block contracts. I found this out the hard way. Nobody informed me. I had to find out, and my private friends helped me. So I'm going to go off in a minute to meditate and relax. Because I wish to goodness none of this happened. I can't change the clock back. And I can't change what's happened. And I am being prevented to find a remedy. The traumatization of all this, the capped assassination, constantly still. How do you expect any man or woman in one's position, or any family member, to trust your system, to trust these individuals are offering services, if this is what you still count on? I strongly always been the one to look at self-efficiency, self-care when one is able to. But to label people with diagnoses they don't have, so your numbers look pretty on your computer screen, so you can close a claim down and label them as, oh, they're making up their illnesses. Oh, what, the individual making up that they need this equipment, are they? Well, all due respect, you're using the first care data reference number, exactly the same one you did years ago. Don't you think I worked that one out? So I can't take a part of documentation with me. And the fact now, unfortunately, other unfortunate situations happened, yet again, not surprised, where it's happening internationally with many people in my situation. I will not be being offered any personal independence allowance. Don't you think I worked that one out? That's another avenue to twist it all in, to twist the knife in, to twist all this in. After the hell I've gone through with unlawfully, Department of Works and Pensions Limited, head office, Clacton, London, their agents, their contracts, it's all over the news, mainstream media as well. Despite the evidence and medical facts, first-hand knowledge, private stuff as well, and what things affect me and how they affect me, so to speak. And then have a local area centralised individual, no disrespect to man or the service, I'm sure they meant well, but for them to be instructed to make sure that don't get back to me. They're busy, I'm sure they're busy, but they've got a contract with Department of Works and Pensions, with Universal Credit. I just can't make this up. And therefore, That individual, I had a certain other individual, and she works for elsewhere in London, but I'm not going to mention who they are right now. They haven't done me no harm. They did their best. The fact that all this evidence went off, they stopped my DLA offer all these months, and only reinstated it in May 2019, only to go and close the claim down literally weeks ago. Well, 4 weeks ago. And I have no offer letter to state why. And I have no offer letter to reject the offer of July 2018, the offer of PIP claim. And then I find out by the soical services limited company, individual claims an email and doesn't put specific amounts and dates and things. My mate did all that for me, worked it out for me. If you don't realise you need to stock up the food, basic things you need in your own, because the shite's going to hit the fan more. All this BS about Brexit is just hiding the severity of people being made homeless, severity of people in one situation. So what's the cheapest option for the state, for the public civil servants in the job role, where they see people too costly to live in their own homes, to put them in institutional environments and label them. Just label them. They need to be protected. Be aware of how they are doing these things, whether you got a loved one, whether you got an elderly. I don't know how children's services works. I can't comment on that. But in this area, they're setting up a children's trust. It's a company. They've been slated about the handling of vulnerable children in the care system too, in foster care. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you. If you can just research yourself. So this is just one area out of England. There's many people going through similar situations. And so there's a crisis in care, obviously. And there's crisis in many public funded services. If you ever know the elderly, knowing how to survive on little with nothing, knowing the fact we are extremely meant to be a wealthy country, but we have so many people going without. My situation is nothing compared to the big picture, I know, but I'm just raising this first-hand evidence of fact. Ceasing to cease all you public servants, and that goes for. I've got nothing against any public ordinary individual that's just trying to do their job, but you don't forget the fact that without the public paying your wages in conditioning under arrest with council tax or whatever system they're doing, a lot of people just give up and fed up because they just want to watch the telly and they're stressed out. But yet, powers that be bigger than I, much more connected perhaps, allowances, you do not. I mean, there isn't any democracy anymore. We're in an Orwellian state. 1984 gone, past all that now. Agendas is massive. In the bigger picture, in hindsight and moving forward, if all this could be corrected and be lawful, and this time move forward with my full consent, and I do have that capacity, to consider the offer of a full disclosure, terms and conditions of contract offer, and not just suddenly be surprised. The local hotel in the corner is not ideal, but again, over 2 years ago, I could have been there for a good old week and I could have done the job by now, repair my home. And these past weeks, these documents I've seen, it's just been absolutely unbelievable. Well, not surprised, but unbelievable. And I didn't expect to get remedy that way, because it's contract law. So the presumption that the certain civil servants, you see, if you look into common law, you've got the peace officers. They have a duty of care and welfare grounds to make sure there's, in their terminology, there's a vulnerable adult in their location. They, private limited companies as well, in the brand of adult safeguarding, and even children. But you need, and adults, older people, you really need to look at that definition in both areas of statute law, common law, contract law. So if you don't know what implied right of access, denied implied right of access is, and I've looked at it both in statute law and common law. Common law for the police, yes, they can come to your door and knock on the door. And like in the emergency situation I had, 2017, to break in to get you to hospital on the physical disabilities I had. Be careful how they're using, not everybody, but some, on assumptions based on disinformation. This is why it's crucial to get your data, and if any misinformation or non-factual evidence is on there, your lawful right to have that corrected on record. And therefore, God forbid, anything else happens to one, these individuals who may be thinking they're acting in your best interest without you knowing about it, behind the scenes, you never know. They've got the right facts this time to go on. That's all I'm about, is go on the right facts this time. Don't dig up a load of BS and hearsay, because I have the evidence. I have black and white evidence. I can sue in contract law and commercial liens and that due process in tort law, personal injury, to the cows come home. But would it get me a remedy to move forward in life? No. Spiritually, no. I forgive all of you out there that are constantly transgressions against I, the living, the breathing. I forgive all those that a future will be harming me unlawfully. And you know who you are. And whether it's indirectly or directly, direct discrimination or inhumane degrading treatment, whatever way that want to brand it. But the technology now out there, I'm a generation. In a way, it really doesn't matter in a sense for the next period of life, because I know it needs to be transparent and it needs to be with the full knowledge and consent. And if one does struggle with that avenue of knowing, or others may see things in another, a person opinions in the drug capacity, don't you think it's a duty of care to inform them, to put it in writing? Or we think this might help or that might help? No. That would be a logical way of moving forward. No. They need your consent still, as they are the agents representing these corporations. And if anyone tries to come near my private dwelling without my consent, you are trespassing. Okay? You are unlawfully trespassing without consent. I've done everything by the lawful due process to date. And this just moves. So I know they're monitoring this. You don't come anywhere near my private dwelling when I'm safe. The best I can be anyway. And nobody's harming me, and my private friends are just holding on lawfully in the best way they can while I iron out all these ins and outs of these discrepancies, shall we say, in assumptions, presumptions, and that needs to be sorted out, because I can't dwell on this history of the past. But they keep bringing it up. Civil servants keep bringing it up. And they keep bringing it into their current information. That's disinformation. That's not going to help me get the services that may or may not be offered in the lawful due process. This place is just bricks and mortar. What matters is what's in my heart, where my home is. There used to be a song there somewhere. Wherever I lay my hat is my home, something like that. I know life's short. And I thank to goodness for the late mum. My late mum. She taught me a lot. In a long way round, really. But I know I'm being a target. And I know what's behind it all. And I know I've just got this knowledge now. I can't just turn off the switch of knowledge. I can just share my experience as a fact. It's up to you, your discernment. You want to go up and do research. We're living many public sector services. Many companies are struggling. A lot of companies have gone offshore for tax reasons. A lot of people are just fed up with it all. They just want to watch the TV and forget about it all. But don't forget, anything like this could happen to you. I didn't expect things to happen for so long. It's been lots of things have been going on. My private business, my private dwelling, my private life. Well, mainly a long time ago, really. But I won't go into it all right now. I won't hear publicly. I'm very proud of my certain family members, what they're doing with themselves, and good luck to them. And I'm glad they're out this area. But I'm also aware of other subjects. I won't go right now, and I might not do for a long time on this channel. I've set up a new channel, but I don't name and shame. That's not me. Whatever I know, I'll just keep basic things to myself. I just call this a journey in my personal life. So, using technology to aid disability, if it's positive, if it's safe, if it's lawful, maybe. Moving out of here into an environment where I've already looked into logically without anything being affected me, the change of circumstances. Well, I don't know at the moment how that can happen logically. So the offer as originally stands, you civil servants, is fund the offer of the hotel, offer the temporary week, even maximum 2 weeks only, is your offer of Olympics Care Service Limited. That's how you work in this area, and not the same certain females I've had dealings with before. And that way you can finish up your lawful duty of care. The Statute Law of the Care Act 2014. Not using Section 42. And also, Home Group Limited, company individuals, you know who you are. You can make sure that your team of lawyers get their finger out and put it in writing. That these are conditions that you're willing to make. I consider the offer. And if I don't agree, we can claim it, and then we have a meeting of minds. We come in the middle. I will not consent to meetings in my private dwelling. No, you've done that already, and I've got the evidence. 2010, 2012. I've got all this detailed evidence. It's called housing records. Oh, what else have you been plotting behind the scenes, eh? I've seen these people, well, not just me, but others too. Cold calling tactics. Other things happening, I won't mention it. I'll just put it this way, on my observations. I just observe it, that's all. But I need to keep myself, just keeping it just real. So cease and desist and all unlawful presumptions. I do have this equipment, condition accepted, as I said, under duress in my private dwelling. It's safe and it's all up to date. I do, as I said, I am safe, best I can be in a situation, and it's not very good having this, the effect of this rotted floor affecting my health. And on that basis, you're trying to make a sensible assumption. You want to go to a Cancun court. It's called Ministry of Justice, the head office of Petty France, London. All these are area offices, administrative law, maritime law. And when you realise they are true civil servants, and unfortunately, when you're stuck in a bubble in their system, I call it, it's really not pleasant, because you got three people that don't know you make a judgment on you to say, well, you're entitled to this assumption, well, this payment offer. Well, hold on, these civil servants don't contact me for 8 years and are meant to be able to do something magically since all my reduction in my health. And I send conditioning off under duress the evidence and medical fact that I'm unable to offer that you can't be paid twice if you're being offered criminal injuries or personal injuries payment unless you got a lawyer set up a trust fund protection of it offer of funds. Then you cannot be seen to be offered any payment while you are being offered disability living allowance or ESA universal credit or whatever benefit system you're on, because it's seen as income, and that way it can be taken off, and then you might be owed recovery unit, could owe back whoever, even voluntary work with any expenses in statute law system. I didn't even know this till about 3 months ago. I found out by chance. Nobody informed me. So all due respect, that offer's been rejected, and just because I've had to reject it, now I'm being questioned about my decision making. Oh my gosh, that just gets ridiculous. I'm survived a serious tort all these years, and nobody contacts me. I'm thinking matter dealt with. I've had all this care, ill health going on for years, and then they leave it for 8 years, and no civil servant contacts me on that subject, and then they're chasing me. Well, they want to withdraw the offer, fine, withdraw it then, because I know my vibrations, my energy is much better than dealing with petty, inexperienced civil servants in that subject. And I know the criminal injuries compensation corporation, head office in Glasgow, the company, board of directors, the CEO, I know they breached a best practice policy years ago. It states your welfare, one's welfare, is paramount. What? No video link? What? Is it in a public interest to offer victims of crime in statute law whose sensitive witnesses or child witnesses even? Maybe that'd be different, I don't know. But an adult, a video link. Well, there's all these apps these days of technology, not even they can consider that alternative. Like certain individuals working in the public sector, you use YouTube to get your videos out or streams in your meetings. And so this is ironic. So a certain individual, I won't mention who, just call him David, twice had discredited me. It's all about the attack onto me personally as an individual. You know, they have to go round it and to be seen to be doing certain things in their policy procedures, whatever subject you're dealing with. But in a nutshell, it's just a victimisation, discrimination, and personal character assassination. And why? Big question mark, innit? Why you want to do that? So you just think back, well, I haven't caused any harm to any man or woman. Or if I have, hands up, so to speak. As far as I know, I haven't. Have I hurt a fly? Well, might have done once. I don't like spiders. Do like nature, mind you. And I do like animals. Well, I don't have them anymore. You made sure of that, didn't you, civil servants out there years ago? Anyway, no. You can't hurt a corporation, they're bricks and mortar. and these are men and women. So you do need to be, unfortunately, nowadays, you need to be extremely careful what you say, and just make it aware that if you're going to talk to somebody or whatever offer, you're going to record it. And if these civil servants don't like it, well, they record us, we record them. But don't forget, if you're in a public place, be careful. Just be common sense approach about it all. In your private dwelling, it's your business. And they don't like it when you turn the table. But when it's in their place of business or their offer, when they've got cameras around, you want to check their data protection policies and your use of your data. I couldn't believe this last June 2018 when I was unlawfully misled about my personal data. So again, non-experienced civil servants, and they don't have social care side of it all. Well, she's left a job now, but replacement are ones with no experience in my situation. And then the comments, I couldn't believe this. So all the evidence I found today basically proves, well, I'm authenticated. A bit, I can't pronounce words now. I'm going to end the stream because I'm getting tired. All the alleged assumptions, I say, is already being fully rebutted. So all of you civil servants out there, you know who you are, you know exactly who I am. It's cease and desist at once. Libel and slander and hearsay, assumptions, failure to do that, you will be again served with further action in common law, contract law, and your statute law. Yeah. So you can go to your Cango court system to try and see notice of a forced entry to a private dwelling on the assumption, presumption, assumption on health and safety. What? You take 2 years to not act upon my counterclaim, my requirements, and I've got all the evidence, and you can burst in my door when I'm bloody asleep in bed and fright the hell out of me and trigger up another stroke and end up in hospital. Is that what you plan to do? Of course it is. And then on top of that, all you other civil servants out there, peace officers, NHS, civil servants, in conjunction with others. I've seen this done with others that don't do that, speak out, that whistleblowers, that exposing the lid and a lot of subjects lawfully to stop them in the tracks. But I don't do that kind of thing. But you're going on this direct assumption. Oh, monitor everything what one says. I just go what I was taught. My late mum taught me to respect people, that treat people the way that treat me, and that's what I do. And I'm dishonourable in what I try to do when I'm able to. And I just wish to all those that may see or hear this video stream, just be aware that whatever you're going through, and I've just made some notes, all along, all it's ever been for so long, ever since I moved in to get me out straight away. It's unreal how they've done it. So all along, for the care plans I found, say, where is a contract, LGSS or Limited, CEO, and basically, if you can research how to survive on practically nothing, there is in statute law zero, I can't remember what it's called, I got it down somewhere, but it's like a particular piece of paper you take to a borough council. But this area is a flagship for the agenda for by 2021, 2021. I really hope I can move away from it all by then. I really don't want to live in a built-up area myself, but I like to be safe in somewhere that's more meeting my needs. But to get from there, to get from A, B, C, D, E, there's so much to do in between. But be certain individuals, their job role, they don't care that. It's not just easy to say or help that individual on this subject or that subject. Everything else is affected. And this is what's a shame. Please be careful about those that are vulnerable. And yes, it's not about carving them off and hide them away, going back to the dark ages. No, it's about equality and moving forward. So the time now is, thank you, 11:13. That's time to end the stream on this channel. Like, try again. Healthcare, the truths uncovered. First-hand knowledge. Contract law. Trust law, that comes into play. And equity law. Well, not to cloud the issue with the stream on those subjects. You might want to start learning about that. And then it's worth knowing about statutes law and who has got the authority. Authority. That's why it comes into assumptions and pre-assumptions, because already I've notified the agents for these corporations, these companies. I rejected the offer of this week, but I've already ruled shall we counterclaim an offer. As I said, already done that in writing before in 2018, and it's now 2019, so how long? So be aware on this subject of adult. Look at the local policies in your area if you want to know what that's about, adult safeguarding, and the framework policies. You really want to be clued up on framework. This is the buzzwords they're using, framework. And they call this, there's no partnership working per se. All these different public funded companies at the moment. There is in London apparently, but not in this area. The partnership working is the buzzwords they're using. Framework policies are using. And this is all about data mining, data sharing, correction. And they need your consent. And be aware how your consent by your actions. And if you get a call at the blue, just you're allowed to record the call. You don't need to let the individual know. Sometimes these companies, when you're calling them, will let you know. But yeah, so much so that I do not get a call back by, and my mate's just making me aware. There is, I've already got, they call this, by the way, in the subject of care, manhandling OT report. It's already done. It's already done with, and it's up to date, and nothing's changed since that report was done. Report was offered and done. Conditional acceptance was under duress at the time. I didn't know what my rights were back then. That's why, since I had a former public law lawyer, and former family member in 2012, got me home, and ever since then things went pear-shaped by the state-funded offer services. Please don't get me wrong. There was a couple of really nice people I got to know. And as soon as I got to know the really nice people, very helpful people, they soon got rid of them and changed them over. Be aware there needs to be more funding and more proper training for carers that's paid by companies. Be aware companies can go bust, and that means the pressure on public services in procurement and contract law. It's all to do with contract law. If you don't know what procurement is, and you look at what LDSS, like each town and city has a council, they have a public law department, and they're the ones that offer contract terms. And when it comes into mean testing, if you're being offered services, also financial assessment of all your financial whatever you may have, So if you're expected to pay for certain tools or services you may or may not be assessed for, or say in hindsight you may be, then everything will be going through receipts, everything. And there's a certain amount states that previous form documentation offered a while ago, my mate found recently, and it does go into that. So basically that's an offer contract. So they want to look at your finances, and before they can offer you services, then if there's a civil servant that sees an adult in an environment they don't think it's suitable or safe, they're going to need to do an urgent concern raised, and they're going to place you in a placement where there's a bed, and that could be anywhere, without them realising that you could be affected by, not being able to pay for your daily costs of your own home, not being able to change the circumstances, suddenly affect you have no income, and all this red tape and cutbacks and services. Well, all of these elements I've had to really, really strongly consider and look into when one's able to, and not one public sector services have bothered. That is my time to go and to get some rest. So unfortunately, the D-Day tomorrow. Yeah, thank you. So, for example, oh yeah. What are you looking at? Oh yeah. Look at the element if anyone's situation is you're unable to cope face to face with strangers. Look in the areas where you might be able to find reasonable adjustment, and this is difficult to enforce and to exercise rights. Research who your choice and outcomes are meant to be that, but look into the aspects who's connected in your area and experienced in adult safeguarding. Who's responsible for the governance in service delivery policies and public sector services? On behalf of these companies, public funded, it's crucial to know. Go on to any kind of app that might have a link up to these men and women and their history and their jobs, and you get a picture of who they are. Public knowledge, if they're going on to certain apps and you're on there and you just search for that individual's information, you come across, oh, they used to work for that company, or they've got 23 years experience in the place, and now they work in adult safeguarding as a consultant. And they're also a civil servant, working for a different department. But they're also a director of an adult patient safety for perhaps a commissioning group in statute law. But they also are a disability resource centre linked with their manager. So local connections could, in business wise, could coincidental. They all seem to know each other. But just be aware. It may talk to one individual, they may know somebody else. Just be aware of your personal data, even if you have a general conversation or refer to some kind of department or some kind of service, they may have links elsewhere. It's very important because there's terminology they're using now that might be affecting your situation. No scaremongering here, just telling you the facts. Unfortunately, excuse me, be aware of side effects of medications. Be aware that natural health is important, rest is important. I'm sure you know all this, but you public servants out there, you don't get it. When the pathway for the links of contracts are mined, and you've got the local government adult health social care is Michael King, CEO. It takes less than 2 weeks to investigate a whole year failing. And North Hampshire County Council Limited, its civil servants have been found at fault, by the way, on the 14th of correction. What date was it again? I'm tired. So that is in April this year. Excuse me, 2019. Links to local in your areas might be different. Crisis planning. It's just how the bigger picture works, and for all men and women public generally, how are all interlinked. What else? Beware of the if you research Voiceability Limited, go across the head office in Cambridgeshire, you find out the CEO. Every town and city has a different, no disrespect to them, but when you find out, well, previous people leave their jobs, you build up a rapport with somebody, they move on and move their jobs, and you don't get any remedy. So I've been trying to sort something out by a previous individual that offered service and then they disappear because you just get target when you get labelled. The NHS Digital National Data System, National Data Guardian for Health and Care Information Commissioner. Nationally in England, be aware of the American data mining companies. Capita PLC is running all the computer softwares for soical governments in every town and city in England. Didn't even know that till recently. Then with the NHS Digital is all the digital data collection. That's why I think NHS-wise is all going digital. Anyone outside England, Scotland and Wales, NHS means National Health Service in statute law. NHS Digital Limited Company, NHS England Limited Company, it's all public knowledge. You can research this yourself. What else? Okay. Be aware of this. Section 1, section part 1 of 6 about choice and control. The terminology in statute law needs to be a trained, integrated agreement in health and care. And when they use a mental capacity, be aware this assumption being made, and please research the truth about in that subject. I'm not going to go into it all right now. And especially when it comes into dealing with other public sector services. So again, when you've got physical disabilities, you might have mental health issues, you might have there's a bigger picture, but when there's so-called offer care planning, it's meant to include all these areas, but it doesn't in reality. So beginning again in February this year, May last year, my dental health has been going down, but I can't access A, B, C, D till other things are sorted out. And now with the financial situation happened out the blue again, it's like you're going around in circles. To do with ceasing to cease, originally, again, their response to, and this again, I've got evidence and paperwork here. Previous people in civil servants going back to a previous place that was established in 2012 up the road for me, they're taught they've left dental. Broken teeth, they've left roots in my mouth, they've caused me injuries all these years on and caused all my infections. That keeps happening when the immune system's worn down. All these emails and documentation evidence already been sent off over a period of time. What else? Right, yeah, so here I go, another bit of evidence. Previously back in, I previously made public servants aware in their job role that my experience of a location 2012, but I don't consent to any of those anywhere near me. Originally, the case was reference number, as I said, meant to be dealt with. This is what the timing and date for the emails and everything I remember to offer OT assessment. This is really, really bad timing when it was made assumption. And especially when you're going to nationally in UK, the CEO contracts and software for NHS Digital links into Medicine Regulation Department of Health and Social Care. Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulation. It's statute law, so it's a company, but they have ties. It goes into all your data. Now, this is what's about the data side I'll go into. I'm conscious, get the data right and get the services right now. Moving forward, as I said, because by 2030 and 2020, if I've got that date right, my mates will get this for me. By 2024 and 2030, cloud data, and have I got that right? Yeah. Cloud data medical, NHS England, they put on by the Secretary of Statute Law for Health and Care, a video consultation. Matt Hancock, if he still is in position, I don't know now, but also at the time, or this document was recently, about 4 months ago, Sarah Wilkinson, is it? The CEO of NHS Digital Limited. The data all go to the cloud. I'm not expert in technology, but that's what that is about. What else? Oh yeah, we found that history, didn't you? Yeah. So be aware, and well, just play back this video if you're not aware. So, initial offer by formally subject are trying to move forward both in financially and in adult health, social care, subject housing. I originally sought the offer of board of directors since the 18th of October 2018. A reasonable adjustment of a home visit by a female by a sense of advice offer service in one's area, and they failed to do that. Instead, on the March 2019, they said they could only offer remotely by email. That's called reasonable adjustments for you. So you see, they've only dealt with one issue. Well, they're trying to happen one issue, but they don't always get back to you. And the board of directors and trustees have ties locally into public sector services. That's all I have to say for now. And what else did you just find? Be aware of electronic devices that can track information. Be aware of just if you're able to use any devices that don't need to write in digital format, even better. But people are very good at private investigations, debugging your equipment. Just be aware of your personal data and activities, what you do online, what you say. Everything's stored up in what they call it. I'm talking more advanced than I can ever imagine, perhaps. Nothing's secret anymore. God bless everybody out there who may or may not care, want to know the information or fact. But, oh, yes, I found a key information that might help just when I needed it. Right, Gus, I can't pronounce the last information. I found this out. Didn't like me emailing them. Okay, contract law by Northamptonshire County Council Limited is by procurement team. I do have the Catherine Wilson, and a couple of information is public knowledge. Go and do dunandbradstreet.co.uk and type in www.LGSS Law Limited, and that is where the contract and the paperwork comes from. On behalf of Olympus Care Service Limited on behalf of Hampshire County Council Limited Company. And that is where that side comes into it, the offer contracts. So I think that's it for now. Is that it? That's what we found here? I mean, it's just checking something for me. Oh, you found, was that old Rota? Was that, what date was that? Oh, that's the diary. Oh, right, okay, so what date did he end up in hospital? Oh, here we go. Right, subject of housing. I have in October 2017, what happened? Well. Right, I come out of hospital on 30th of September 2019. My friends had to stay over, made sure I was alright. So, I'm just looking at where these emails on record of that, out the blue, there's an email offer initially to get the facts, and that was the second, I'm trying to read this writing on this document. 3rd of the 10th, 2017, and then by an email got back best one could. So I got the dates here. This is handy actually to get back to somebody about this. Right, so when did I find somebody want to access my medical notes? Okay, no, there's a conversation, wasn't there? That was recorded to see how they can move things forward to my housing repair. So all this evidence, I don't have this piece of document as evidence. I might be able to go back by a certain, I have to write on that. My friends helped me all day. Sunday, 8th of 10th, 2017. Right, what else? Reese, she's been what? To not provide. Is going on to read my writing. Right, service repair my medical equipment. I stated about that. All right, so that week there wasn't much going on. What else? Email 4 p.m. Tuesday, 17th, 10th, 2017. Why nobody got back with the report repair? What else? Here we go. Out the blue. Saturday, 21st of 10th, 2017. 11:13 a.m. an email. Offer to, was that the 20th on the Friday? We're looking at 2 dates, the day before, the 20th and 10th as well. To give me 1 week's notice to move out of my private dwelling on Monday, the 23rd of the 10th, 2008, the 23rd of the 10th, 2017, to go to a hotel miles away from here. Lovely hotel. If I was able-bodied, I would have jumped at the chance. But I wouldn't be able to get my medical equipment there, and my friends wouldn't be able to care for me in that location, and this is why I couldn't accept the offer. And also, they only gave me, yeah, I remember that email coming that weekend, didn't it? Out the blue. And that shocked us because I was just recovering from being in hospital, wasn't I? So, they wanted me out of here the 30th of the 10th, 2017. There was no information how my secure tender is going to be in place if I went out of my private dwelling. With my private dwelling, terms and conditions means that I'm voluntary moving out and confirmed by their in-house lawyer that I still have secure tender and statute law. That didn't come forward. Nothing to date of that nature. As unfortunately there's no arrangements how they're going to fund for the movement of my equipment, They tried to offer a meeting to my private dwelling. I was too unwell, and that evidence of fact wasn't relayed to third parties. Already mentioned about that. Here we go. I got home on the Saturday the 30th of 10th. Now, what date? There we go. Right, Sunday the 1st of the 10th, 2017, as well. That weekend, you're staying over. Yeah, I know. Got to end this stream in a minute. And that is where, by Tuesday the 3rd, the 10th, 2017, it began. Contacting the Adult Health Social Care Northampton County Council Department, a guy called Ollie claimed that, oh yes, you meet the remit to be offered a care needs assessment. 2017, it's 2019 now. And then I was unaware that suddenly somebody wanted to access my medical notes. You know what? No, so that got rejected. And then somebody made assumptions, didn't they? That they thought I couldn't get access to an OT, occupational therapist, which wasn't correct because I didn't need that. It was because my right side reduced. That's only physically what I thought that I may be offered services for. And that's what my friends thought it was about all this time to date. But we've soon found out this past year to date, it's nothing of the sort. So I've been misled initially. So therefore, by the end of, week before the end of October 2017, I was only offered 1 week's notice to move out, and there's no information how the repairs were going to be happened. No repair report, no maintenance report, and who's going to pay for the things that need to be paid for still. What third-party company individuals will be coming into my private dwelling, all the arrangements like that need to be sorted out. It didn't happen. It was rushed. And that's my friend's good advice, said stay put. And so the emails went back and forth to seek clarification. And we counterclaim a different location, which we offered, where they helped me. And that's up in Blackpool, specialist hotel for people in my situation, and offered to move there. It's like a holiday respite hotel. And they do a door-to-door service, pick you up and drop you off, and they've got medical equipment on site. So that got blocked by this National Housing Company individuals in my area. And ever since, that's what's been a problem. They refusing to fund a safe location. Good job you found that. Right, that's the end of this stream. God bless everybody. Thank you. I won't say thank you right now because something to thankful for, because still another challenge going on. We need to go. It's late. Take care.